In the essential training title, we looked at how to align one object to another. Now let's go further and look at how we can align things to the page itself. I've got my Java Code sheet document open here from the exercise files, and I'm going to jump to the second page by pressing Shift Page Down. Let's say I want to center these objects on my page. I'm going to select all three of those objects by using Shift-Click with the Selection tool, and I'm going to group them with Command-G on the Mac or Control-G on Windows. That way they act as a single object whenever I move them. The easiest and fastest way to center an object on your page is to cut it to the clipboard. I'll use Command-X on the Mac or Control-X on Windows, and then go to Fit in Window mode, which is Command-0 on the Mac or Control-0 on Windows, and then paste with Command-V on the Mac or Control-V on Windows. When I chose Fit in Window, InDesign centered the page on my screen, and when I pasted this object, this group of objects, it centered that group on the screen as well. And therefore, the object is pretty much centered on the page itself. Now I say pretty much, and that's because it's not exactly in the center. There's often a rounding error, which leads it to be maybe a quarter point or maybe a half point off, but it's very, very close. Well, what if we want to get exactly right in the center of the page? Well, you can do that. You just have to use the Align panel. And you find the Align panel under the Window menu, inside the Object and Layout submenu. Choose Align. Ordinarily, people use the Align panel to align one object to another. For example, align them all along their left edges. But you can also use this pop-up menu to tell InDesign to align the current objects, the selected objects, not to each other, but to the margins, the page, or the spread. For example, if I choose Align to Page, I can say center these exactly, and now I know that it's exactly in the center of the page. Or I could say align them on the right edge of the page, so the right edge of the object will be aligned to the right edge of the page. You have a lot of control over how objects will fit on your page here. Again, I will align these vertically and horizontally by clicking on these buttons. By the way, if your monitor is wide enough, then you'll see these same options, including this pop-up menu, up here in the control panel by default. But because I'm working on a smaller screen, I don't see that here. Let me show you another Align feature here. I'm going to duplicate this group by holding down the Option key on the Mac or the Alt key on Windows, and I'll simply duplicate this 3 times. Now we have 3 exact duplicates. I'll select all of them by Shift-clicking with the Selection tool, and I can say I want to spread these out across the page from the left margin to the right margin. I'll go to my Align panel, I'll choose Align to Margins, not to the page in this case, and I'm going to say I want to distribute these objects evenly across the page. And I'll click on one of the Distribute Objects buttons in the Align panel. I'll choose Align to Margins because I want to align these within the margins in this case, and then I'll click on any 3 of these Vertical Distribution buttons. In this case, because the objects are the same size, it doesn't matter which of the 3 buttons I click on. Now let's say I want to vertically align them. Easy enough to do. Click on this and it'll align them vertically on the page. Because I use Distribute Objects, I know there's exactly the same amount of space between each of these objects. So it's a very fast way to lay out these objects on the page. Putting objects in their right place in a precise, consistent, and efficient way is crucial in a production workflow. Use these features and you'll be making perfect pages in no time.